This is Ben Harris reporting for JTA. I'm here in the Central Historical District of Mexico City. Just behind me you can see the Metropolitan Cathedral, and over to my left is the National Palace, which houses the famous murals by Diego Rivera. But just a few blocks from here is also the spot where the first Jews arrived in Mexico nearly 100 years ago. I'm here today to meet with historian Monica Uniquel, an expert on the history of Mexican Jewry, who's going to show me some of the first institutions established by the Jewish community when they arrived here in the early part of the 20th century.
The first synagogue that was built in Mexico City, in Mexico country. First it was a house, and there was a department where people lived upstairs, and downstairs was used for everything, like for the prayings, to collect things for the poor, to help, and for the meetings of the Mount Sinai congregation. That was the first organization in Mexico that congregate all the Jews who were in Mexico.
Just a few doors down from Mount Sinai is Mexico's second oldest synagogue, an ornate Ashkenazi congregation with a stunning painted ceiling. In a musty room at this synagogue, Uniquel hopes to establish a museum of the history of Mexican Jewry.
This museum will start here with an introduction about the different immigrations, where the people came from, why they came here. We want to answer the different questions. Why, when, where, from where, and how they did it.
In the early days, Jewish life was concentrated here, on Jesus Mary Street. Today, a bustling shopping thoroughfare in the heart of Mexico City.
Everybody lived or in this street or very near to this street. But this was not a ghetto. This was a normal Mexican, humble area, and the Jews lived with no Jews.
As in other cities of the New World, the early Jews crowded into tenements, like this one, reached through a narrow passage inside a clothing store. It's a far cry from where the Jews were living just a few decades after their arrival.
So I'm here in La Condesa, a neighborhood just a couple of miles from the Central Historical District, but which you can probably tell feels like it's a world apart. Today, this is a trendy neighborhood of sidewalk bars and cafes, but in the middle part of the 20th century, this was a major locus of Jewish life in Mexico City, and you can still see signs of the Jewish presence if you know where to look.
For a moment there, let's say I would say the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, the Condesa was like the neighborhood to be for Jews. This was like a neighborhood that was growing, and it was made up of immigrants, of basically middle-class people. Now most of the Jews don't live here. It's like there's a remnant here, and there's also a new immigration of younger Jews coming, and that are sort of more modern, that don't want to live in the typical areas, because there's a little ghetto over there. The people who come back here or who stay here are sort of the rebels, maybe, or the ones that want something different out of life. And for people in Tecamachalco and in Polanco and in Bosques de las Lomas, coming back here, or Interlomas, coming back here would be sort of like going down a couple notches. But for me, it's like staying cool.
Today, Mexico City's Jews are concentrated in the affluent western suburbs, where they have built spacious, modern institutions, often sequestered behind high security walls and protected by armed guards. Among the community's most treasured institutions is the Centro Deportiva Israelita, the Jewish Sports Center, an enormous facility encompassing baseball fields, basketball courts, a fitness center, gymnastics, karate, a library, a swimming pool, and this being Latin America, not one, not two, but 3 soccer facilities. The center even has a game room for the older folks to play cards.
The people that comes to this sports center, it's a kind of a community for itself. We're talking about Sephardi community, Ashkenazi community, and all that kind of communities, basically, and the CDI community, basically. The security, for example, it's very important. For example, if you enter here, you begin to feel in an oasis, basically. No? We're going to go around, and you are going to see how the mothers are having some coffee wherever, and the children are wherever they want. So that's very important, and this is something that nobody, in no place in Mexico City can offer, basically. No? That's That's, I think, it's the most important thing that we do here.
From Mexico City, this is Ben Harris reporting.